You've tuned in to the 49ers Rush podcast, and here is your host, jl-chapman.
Welcome back to another 49ers Rush podcast, and again, this is going to continue our second podcast where we break down the 49ers loss in Week 1 to the Minnesota Vikings, a fight that we came up short on. We lost 16-14, but I will tell you this. Our defense played pretty well. There's a lot to take away from this game. So as we go through and break this down, I just want you to understand, man, this overall, we saw some great things in some areas that we really needed some help. So just stay tuned we'll go through, we'll name our MVP. We'll go through kind of stock up, stock down, some things that we need to be concerned about, and then we will even look forward a little bit into our matchup next week. Now, one more thing I do want to bring up, we do have the 49ers Rush DFS competition on FanDuel. If you have not gotten into this, we filled all 100 spots last week, so I just want to say shout out to that. That was awesome. The winner got themselves a free 49ers Rush t-shirt, which was great. It's a $2 competition, and if you sign up with more than $5, you get $20 for free. So you sign up for $5, you get $20 for free. All you have to do is go to fanduel.com/49rush, fanduel.com/49rush. You just sign up. It's a $2 competition. The winner gets $50. Man, go out there. It's a lot of fun. It was pretty cool. I got destroyed. I think I got 60th spot, so that's what it is. But go out there, sign up if you haven't already. And, man, it's just a fun way just to kind of compete and see who wins there. So, real quick, let's get into kind of the overall drives that our defense was able to kind of confine them to and where we got hurt. We came out, man, so awesome. They punted on the very first drive. They got 3 first downs, and Deforest Buckner got a sack. In case you don't know, Deforest Buckner, and I wanted to start with the drives because he is the MVP of this game. He got 2.5 sacks. It should have been 3, but they halved one of the staff statistically with Ronald Blair. Just an absolute beast game. And our biggest weakness going in all offseason was getting to the quarterback. And if you look at DeForest Buckner last year, 3 sacks is all he had all last year. The one thing that he could not do, he was always in the backfield. He's a beast. But he never could kind of finish and seal the deal. Well, if week 1's any indication, 2.5 sacks in 1 week is beyond impressive from the defensive tackle position. Just an absolute great game. And the runner-up for MVP is going to be Fred Warner. I would have no issue saying that he was the best player. He balled out. We will talk more about him later. But again, I mean, if I'm doing Defensive Player of the Year rankings for the entire NFL, DeForest Buckner's in the top 5. You know, Fred Warner played amazing for his first start in the NFL. It was incredible. But sacks are what win the game. That is huge. So, first drive, they punt after the DeForest Buckner sack. Then their offense gets a field goal on the second drive after, again, another first down drive. So, back-to-back, they came out quick. Third drive, they throw a touchdown to Diggs after a very short field after a turnover. Then, here we go, Fred Warner comes out on the 4th drive and forces a fumble on an all-out effort play. Just absolutely incredible. And then they end the first half. They are trying to march down the field as time expires with a DeForest Buckner sack. So that was the end of the first half. They got 5 drives, 1 touchdown and 1 field goal, so 10 points after that. Then, the second half, they come out, they punt after 1 first down. That was the Buckner and Blair half sack each. Then, Jaquiski Tartt gets beat by their tight end. Rudolph for a touchdown. Tartt was in good position. He just didn't make a play on the ball. 8th drive, they punt after 1 first down. And then we finish up with the 9th and 10th drive, 3 and outs. And a punt after Solomon Thomas gave them a free first down on probably the worst play of the whole game. The 4th and 1, they do the good old freeze play where they have no intention of snapping the ball. They go out there, they motion 3 times and just dummy count, trying to see if somebody can get out there and jump off sides. And they call it dummy count for a reason. And Solomon Thomas was the dummy on this one. He jumped off sides. It gave him a free first down, basically limiting any chance we had at tying the game or winning the game. So, and that was the last drive of the game. So that's what that is there. So, couple things. Turnovers. You can't lose the turnover ratio to a great team like the Minnesota Vikings. We forced 1, and that was it. That was on the forced fumble by Fred Warner. And what happened was, Sherman comes in and gets it, but that's it. We gave up 4, we got 1. That is not acceptable to beat a good team like this. It just doesn't work. And the one thing that I will say, however, is sacks. We got 3 sacks for 24 yards. That is a manageable number for this defense that you've got to take away. If we get 3 sacks a game, we're going to be okay. The problem was there were several times last year where we received 0 sacks at all in a game, and it's hard to win that because we're not a very turnover-prone team on the defensive side. We don't force a lot of turnovers. So without that, you've got to get sacks. You cannot be devoid of both those categories, sacks and turnovers, and if that's the case, you're just going to be on the short end of the win column. So, you got to be happy about the sacks, but again, the interceptions and fumbles, we've got to step up our game. And I think that will happen, especially with Richard Sherman back there. He was great. So before I get into every single player on the defensive side and break everything down, we have a new sponsor at the 49ers Rush Podcast. Things are going good here. Really appreciate everybody subscribing and downloading. And with that, we get sponsors. So our new sponsor is MyBookie. So people ask me all the time about betting and stuff, and I usually stay away from it unless it's something that I know, one that I trust, and if I know what to bet on, which I don't make bets every week. But whenever I do, I use MyBookie. You got to check them out. MyBookie. And the main reason why I use MyBookie is because it's easy to get money. There's lots of stuff out there, but these guys, when you win and you need money out, they will pay you. They have in-game live betting, over and unders, fantasy point scoring, which I love that kind of stuff. It is all there. So they even have a new promotion, which is pretty cool. And if you deposit anytime after 7 p.m. Eastern, that's 10 p.m. Pacific time, right? They will give you an extra $25 free play. So if you deposit $100 or over $100, they will match your deposit dollar for dollar and throw in an additional $25 on top of that. All you have to do is use the promo code RUSH100. Again, RUSH 100. No spaces. And if you do that, it activates the offer. So just head over to MyBookie and just type in that promo code, RUSH100. And again, there's so much free stuff that you can get there. And again, if you are depositing late after 10 p.m. Pacific time, enter in RUSH125, no spaces, and then they will match you dollar for dollar and add that extra $25 on top. So it's a win-win. So let's jump into the defensive player breakdown, and I got to start with my boy, Deforest Buckner. Comes out just on the opening play drive of the game and gets a sack. And he almost got there the play before. He almost had 2 sacks in a row on the opening drive. But he is just unreal. So he gets a sack, almost gets a sack on first down, gets a sack on second down, then third down forces Cousins out of the pocket. 3 straight plays, and this is after they're driving at midfield. Forced a punt on 3rd and 14, just absolutely incredible. And his second sack was probably my favorite. We had a 3-man rush. That is it, right before the half. So we dropped 7, and we had one guy spying, and we just rushed 3 men against their 5-0 linemen. And so DeForest Buckner got double-teamed, and just straight-up effort, refused to give up, and got another sack. Just absolutely incredible. Because that's the thing with him. He has the skill, one of the best swim moves in the entire NFL. But on top of that, he never stops running. He goes all out every single play, which is saying a lot because he is on the field nonstop. It's just what he does. So of all of the defensive plays that we had out there, DeForest Buckner played 54, which was the most for the offensive line. And so 54 snaps out of 71. Again, the only people that played every single snap for our defense were all 4 secondary members. Kilo, Richard Sherman, Jaquiski Tart, and, of course, our free safety, Colbert, and our rookie linebacker, Fred Warner. So that should tell you something about how great Warner played. Now, moving on to the bad news. I'm going to go D-line first. Solomon Thomas. Oh, my goodness. Solomon Thomas only played 35 snaps. He was out there less than half of the snaps, and he graded out terribly. He was a bottom 5 defender. As far as grades go, with a 48.5. He just really did not do much at all. He got 1 tackle, That's 2 tackles. Sorry, I apologize. Don't want to short him that. 1 unassisted, and that's just kind of what it is. And he had 1 run stop. But outside of that, man, there were really no pressures whatsoever. It seems like his playing time is going to Cassius Marsh. He got 39 snaps. So I don't know what's going to happen here. You know, a lot of people get upset at me whenever I talk bad about Solomon Thomas. I get it. We picked him 3rd overall last year. Everybody loves him and he flashes, but he's not consistent. And whenever you add to that the mental mistakes that he made with that offsides penalty on 4th and 1, things like that, it's consistency. That's all it is. And again, he is rated as the worst tackler that we had by Pro Football Focus with a grade of 38. That's terrible. He has to fix this situation. He really does. He doesn't use his arms very well. He's very explosive, but he's got to get out there, and he's got to make better plays. He lost contained for a first down twice, missed a tackle on Dalvin Cook, for an extra 6 yards, gave up a first down because of that. But he did make an effort play to get to Cousins on 3rd and 14 one time, where Cousins scrambled, and he tackled him just short of the first down and forced a punt, so that was good. He's got to step up his game. I don't see his snaps going up next week. I just don't see it. He's got a ways to go. Eric Armstead had an absolutely amazing game. It didn't show up as much in the stat line, but the one thing that Eric Armstead can do, he caves in an offensive line. And what I mean by that is he shrinks the gaps down. So he'll play outside contain as the defensive line position, and he extends his arms and plays with links so well at the point of contact. The one thing he doesn't do is get after the quarterback, but he squeezes down the tackle into the guard spot. And so if there's an inside running play, 1, nobody's touching the linebacker. 2, there's no hole to run through, so you kind of have to bounce it outside. So he played absolutely incredible. Man, he had a great run stop right after one of Jimmy Garoppolo's interceptions, and so they had a short field. It was looking bad. He came in and just made a great play and made it 2nd and 12 right off the start. And so it's little bitty things like that that help us out a lot. And even, I'll say this, 3 independent run stops on his own on 3 tackles. Again, his statistical night is not great, but the reason why Fred Warner played the way he did had a lot to do with Eric Armstead. Blair got in some. He didn't get a lot of playing time. He got his half sack, which was great. But 24 snaps, it seemed like him and Solomon Thomas kind of split time. That's what it is. Ronald Blair graded out better than Solomon Thomas, but not by much. Cassius Marsh, man, I don't know what to think about this cat. 39 snaps, and he just is taken out of so many plays. He's so tiny, and if the linemen get their hands on him, it's just over. His entire play is over. There are several times where he blitzed so deep, where he was running his arc to the passer 10 yards behind the quarterback, and it's just like, what are you doing back there, man? Like, you're not doing anything. So he had an awful first half, 0 positive plays in the first half. He did make his very first positive play, came in the 4th quarter with 8 minutes left, and he kind of turned it on then. It seemed like offensive line was getting tired, so he stepped up his game big time. Julian Taylor was a healthy scratch, which just kind of shows you where our defensive line strengths are. He is going to be a stash player for the long haul. Earl Mitchell made a great play in the goal line. You know, he was in and out. He didn't do a whole lot, but he is going to remain the starter. He got 32 snaps at nose tackle, whereas DJ Jones got 19. And again, statistically speaking, Earl Mitchell was much better there as well this week. 2 pressures. He got 2 tackles as well. DJ Jones got 2 tackles, but it seems like it's going to be Earl Mitchell about 2 series, and then DJ Jones goes in the 3rd series and back and forth. That's kind of what they're doing there. I don't want to talk a lot about Brock Coyle. He is done. He broke a small bone in his back. And so I just want to say thanks to Brock Coyle and everything he did. He had a terrible game. He was the worst rated defender that we had, but the guy plays hard, and he was playing out of position. You should never start Brock Coyle at the will position. That is not his athletic prowess. He is a Sam or Mike backer at best, but we didn't want to put Fred Warner out there with Elijah Lee. So let's talk about Fred Warner, then we'll get to Elijah Lee. Fred Warner was incredible. Absolutely just unreal at the Mike backer. He had no problems getting everybody lined up. He was in communications with the defense or with the coordinators the whole time and just played awesome. So let's talk about these stats. 9 tackles, led the team. Absolutely incredible. He did have 1 missed tackle, but he only got 3 yards after that. 5 independent run stops. This is insane. And he's playing out of position. Fred Warner's not a Mike Backer. He is a Will. That's just what he is. Forced fumble, 1. He was targeted 5 times in the passing game. He gave up 3 catches for 19 yards. 10 yards after catch, that's all he gave. And he had 1 pass breakup, which was just beautiful. He read that it was a pass, and he starts to drop back into his zone, and he opens up and flashes to the defensive left, the offensive right. Thielen is coming on a slant. Thielen's one of the best slant runners in the entire NFL, and he timed it up perfectly, got his long mitts on the ball, and deflected the ball away. And it was on a 3rd down, too. And that's the thing that this guy brings. He is so versatile. He is a 3-down linebacker. Whenever Reuben Foster gets back, this is going to be unreal. Now, Elijah Lee, believe it or not, he came in after Brock Coyle went down and only played 10 snaps. But in those 10 snaps, he rated as the number 1 overall graded defender by Pro Football Focus. He received a 90.4 grade and was everywhere. In 10 plays, he had 3 independent stops. He looked unreal from the get-go. I am very excited about this young guy. I'm not going to lie. He is very, very talented. He doesn't make the best decisions, but he plays all out. So next week is going to be fun because he should be starting. Malcolm Smith, I'm not counting on him to be healthy. We may never see Malcolm Smith ever in a 49ers uniform again, to be honest with you. So I'm hoping we see Elijah Lee out there. Mark Nzocha played great. Got out there. He did miss a tackle early on Dalvin Cook, but then he broke up a pass late. And, man, he just was making plays. He didn't get a lot of playing time as a Sam backer against that team. He got in there for 33 snaps, so about half. And he didn't really show up a lot. But he did get a pass defense, and he was always around the ball when he was in there. So let's move on to our secondary now. Richard Sherman. Holy freaking cow. The 3rd-rated defender. He played all 71 snaps for the defense and gave up 1 catch. They stayed away from him. 3 targets, he gave up 1 catch, and it was on a comeback route from Diggs. It was just a great route and a great throw. He was playing deep. He had deep third on that play, and he played it right, but it's just what it is. He did get 1 pass breakup and 1 fumble recovery. He changes our defense because even though you're looking at 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and Adam Thielen and Stefon Diggs, Richard Sherman had it. I mean, that was his. And Ahkello Witherspoon, again, he played great on the other side. He gave up a touchdown on a fade route to Diggs. He had super close coverage, but it was a perfect pass, perfect catch. That's just part of it. It's going to happen whenever you're playing against guys at that caliber. However, his play of the game came against Adam Thielen. I talked about how he can run slants, and he juked Ahkello really, really well. He had him on 2 steps. The ball was put in the right place, but his long arms, he laid out and broke it up the last minute. The ball was caught, and he knocked it out so that he couldn't finish the catch. Just an absolute great game. Again, he was targeted 3 times as well, only gave up 1 catch, just like Sherman, except his went for a touchdown, and he also had a pass breakup as well. So great game by him. Kwan Williams, not too bad. He got killed on a slant early. That's all. That's really all they do with Adam Thielen. He runs a slant on the right side, slant on the left side, slant on the right side, slant on the left side. And so he just did this all game. So Kwan Williams, he graded out kind of middle of the grade. He was targeted 5 times, gave up 3 catches for 62 yards, and half of that was on 1 play, that 33-yard to Thielen. And so that's kind of what it was. He did get 1 pass breakup as well, but, man, our corners are great. I ain't got no problem with those. And even DJ Reed, he didn't get a lot of snaps, but he started the game off as kickoff returner. So he's going to have a role, and he's kind of backing up everywhere. He's Jimmy Ward, but better. He could play quarter, he could play safety, but he stays healthy. So now let's get into our safeties, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it was bad. Adrian Colbert and Jaquiski Tart both graded out 50 and below. Colbert was a 46.3, and Jaquiski Tart came out at a 58.6. They both played every single snap. And so let's focus on Tart. Let's do this. He's such a splash player. We've talked about this before. He gets 6 tackles. He's very active. He's always around the ball. But he had 3 missed tackles, all for first downs. But then again, he has back-to-back missed tackles, and then he gets a tackle for loss where he crashes the line and makes an amazing one-on-one play. Fell down on a screen to Cook and gave up a free first down in coverage. And again, next play, he makes a great play off the edge for 0 yards. Then he misses a tackle on Cook for 10 yards. He misses another tackle 2 plays later on the same drive. Just these things keep happening. And it seemed like as soon as the second half started, they targeted him 3 plays in a row. So you could tell their coaching adjustment was, let's target Jaquiski Tart. And so they came out and just boom, 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 3 targets in a row. Then he gets a tackle for loss, as I said earlier. So it's interesting. It's one of the worst individual games that I have seen in a while from him, but he makes positive plays. He just has really bad plays and then really good plays. So I don't know. I'm very worried about Tart. And if we look at what Colbert did, he was never even in the screen. He was back. And so maybe you could say we didn't get beat deep in the middle of the field, and he did his job. But again, he was targeted once and gave up a catch for 11 yards. And so I guess that's good to say about a free safety. He got in on 5 tackles, but we need explosiveness from him, especially with young linebackers. It's just what we need. So we need those guys to step up their game. That's just basically what it is. So that's going to do it for us here at the 49ers Rush Podcast. We're going to have another episode to preview this week's game against the Detroit Lions, and we're going to have our area scout on at Kadu Clayton. He's going to be on to break down the game stats, who to watch out for, who to exploit, and all those things. So stay tuned for that. But just want to say thanks, faithful. If you have not already, please subscribe, rate, or review the show. It helps us out a lot here at the 49ers Rush Podcast. And stay strong, faithful.